Hi, today I want to talk about one of my biggest pet peeves with small businesses in general, which is that whole idea of the one person company that never answers their phone, but that perpetuates to the world that they are this larger company where if you do business with them, you actually have a chance of dealing with a real human being. I firmly believe that if I have taken money from somebody, that I have a responsibility to you to make myself available should you have a question. I may not answer the phone with an answer that you like. I may not answer the phone on the first ring. I may not answer your email within 30 minutes of you sending it. But if you have given me money, then, or if you have sent something to me with the idea that you would like to pay me to make this work, and you've sent it within the guidelines that I've provided for my business, then I have a responsibility to you to make somebody available some way so that if you wish to contact me to ask about this, that they will answer. And again, they may not give you the answer that you want to hear. They may not give you the good news that you're necessarily looking for, but the news will be there and somebody will be there to deliver the information. Right now, I'm dealing with 3 separate websites in one particular industry that I don't want to get into just yet, where every single one of them took my money a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks ago. You call, you get an infinite loop of people that just never, ever, ever get you to somebody that you can have a conversation with. You can email them from different types of emails, from business email, Gmail addresses, any type of email. You won't hear back from them. You can send a tweet to them. You won't hear back from them. You can post on their Facebook page. You will not hear back from them. But you took my money. You said within 2 to 3 days, this item will ship. 2.5 weeks later for one company, 3 weeks later for the other, I have not been able to hear a thing. And I hear all these different excuses from all these people like, I can't afford to hire a staff. It's too busy to take phone calls. I have other things to do. This is just going to be somebody who's complaining. Well, you know what? If you took somebody's money, they have the right to bitch. And people get this idea that I hate any type of person who is bitching about something not going the way they want it. And sometimes people come into the store after actually watching these videos and they have a really different idea of how I'm going to deal with them than how I actually deal with them. And I'll look and I'll say, listen, you spent money. You have the right to ask these questions. You have the right to have these expectations and demands because you have paid me. Yes, it is not exactly the most pleasant thing in the world, but who gives a crap about what is pleasant? What matters is what is fair, what is equitable. And if you have given me $200 or $400 or $600, then I have an obligation to provide you with, at the very least, somebody who's going to answer the phone when you call it. And you have to think about this for a second. You may think I'm being a paranoid lunatic, but when I've given you $600 or $500, and 2 or 3 weeks later, I don't have anything that I ordered, and I call you when I can't get through to you, and I email you once a day for 2 weeks, and you ignore every single email, it doesn't matter if you gift wrapped it. It doesn't even matter if your dad is in the hospital. It doesn't matter if you just fell off a roof. It doesn't matter if you were working until 4 in the morning to, put a little bow on my box and write a handwritten fucking note. I don't know that because I haven't heard from you. So all I can do, and all most people are going to do, is assume the worst. This place took my money. This place fucked up or went out of business. This place has no intention of giving me my product, and they just want to see if they can keep my money past the 45 days. That's really all people are going to think. And you know what? It is totally that person's right to be as paranoid as humanly possible when there is a lack of communication. And this is why, again, I say that all the reason that I'm okay with being an asshole a lot of the times, or what other people perceive to be an asshole, is because I act towards others the way that I would like to be treated. So I would like that when I give you $600, or when I'm about to give you $600 for a service that we have agreed to, that I can call you and ask about this if it has not been delivered in a timely manner. Now, I used to not have a receptionist, and a lot of you people watching this may go, it's easy to say now, ain't a motherfucker, with your 3 or 4 nicely paid employees and your nice little office in your store to always reply to people, you little shit. How about if you're working and you're sitting there all day grabbing cable through, in an air duct, running Cat 5 cable or something, or if you're like sitting under a microscope all day, you try doing that, motherfucker. Well, guess what, you wise ass prick? I used to do that. My favorite story to tell here was 4.5 years ago around the beginning of Rossman Supply. supply when the company did not make enough money to warrant having a receptionist. It didn't make enough money to warrant having its own space. It didn't warrant enough money to even be worth of $20 a day or whatever I'd have to pay the post office to come at a specific time. So I had to balance doing repairs for people with also bringing products to the post office after I packaged them. Now, sometimes I could answer my phone when I was carrying 1 or 2 boxes. If I'm carrying 5 boxes, it's a bit more of a pain in the ass. I'm carrying 12 or 24 boxes to the post office. Now I can't answer the phone anymore. You may be wondering, well, gee, why are you carrying 12 or 24 boxes? Haven't you ever heard of a post office pickup? Well, my business was based on house call repair, meaning I go to you. The post office shows up anytime between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. So how the hell am I supposed to know when the postman's going to come up? How am I going to leave my apartment to visit people to service their specific problems if I have to stay home all day and wait for the post office? It doesn't work. And I also didn't feel like paying the 15 or 20 bucks a day for them to come and pick up. At the time, that would have been... That's like $450, $500, $600, whatever. It's money that I just didn't feel like spending at the time per month. I don't remember the exact fee, but it was somewhere between $300 and $400. Just not worth it. So I walked the boxes over to the post office. Now, again, if I'm carrying 24 boxes, I'm not going to be able to pick my phone out of my pocket and answer it. Now, I had a Bluetooth headset, so this would make it a little bit easier. So I just do this or something, and it would work. Now, eventually, it got to the point where I had 24 boxes going out in a day, and I remember taping all these boxes together. And it was one summer where I was walking the 15 blocks to the post office. It was 95 degrees outside. It was 90-something% humidity. I was almost there to the post office, and I just knew. When this phone rang, I knew deep down in my heart that if I put this heavy stack of boxes down and answered the phone, with how tired I was and how hungry I was and how hot I was, that once I put those boxes down, I wasn't picking them back up. That was for certain. If I put this stack of boxes down, answer the phone, that stack of boxes, again, it's probably going to get stolen by a bunch of bums. I'm never going to pick that set of boxes up and bring it to the post office. So you know what I did so I wouldn't drop the boxes? I actually had the Bluetooth on, and I ran up to a van. This was the Plantronics Voyager Pro that I had at the time, and I tried to click that little button on the Bluetooth because I couldn't do this, because if I did, I would actually drop the boxes I was balancing. I ran up to the van, and I did that. I smashed my head against the van, and it didn't work. So then I smashed my head against the van again, and then while I'm holding the boxes, and I managed to hit the little button on the Plantronics Voyager Pro that allowed me to answer the phone so that I could answer a question about status for somebody who called who was an existing customer. These are the lengths that I went through to ensure that I was always answering the phone for a paying customer, even when my business was a one-man place. These are the extents that I went through to make every single person who is doing business with me feel comfortable about doing business with me, because they knew that I could be reached, they knew that I could be contacted, and they knew that I could be held accountable and liable to them for whatever it is that was going on at any given time. And, you know, I like to talk a lot about what a real business is. And I've talked about this because a lot of people will say that's a real business or that's not a real business because that's a store and that's a guy working out of his apartment. That's a real business because they have a license. That's not a real business because they don't have a license. That's a real business because they have a logo and a sign. That's not a real business because they don't have a logo and a sign. Let me tell you something. A real business is a business that you treat as real. If you treat your customers as real, you treat their concerns as real, you treat their needs as real, you treat what your customers value as real, you're a real business. It's not the insurance. It's not the tax ID. It's not the license. It's not the employees. It's not the T-shirts with your business name on it. And it's not the cubicles. It's not any of that makes it a real business. A real business is a business that treats their customers as if they are real, as if their concerns are real, as if their worries are real, as if their values are real. If you're doing that, you run a real business. But if you run a business where I can spend $600 with you and 2 to 3 weeks later have absolutely nothing to show for it and no way to contact you and figure out what it is, I don't care about your license. I don't care about your 800 number. I don't care about your fancy website. I don't care about your staff. You're not a real business to me. You don't do real business. Real businesses are businesses that can be contacted and reached where there can actually be communication between both parties in the case that something is just not going the way it should. Or even if something is going the way it should, maybe you can just reassure them that it is. And these are the extents that I went through with my business so that even from the very beginning, I could give people that confidence. Yes, you're dealing with a one-man store, and I understand that you're going to have less trust from me. I understand that you're going to not see my business as a real business because of how I started it. But if I am always treating your concerns as real, if I'm always reachable, if I am always accountable, then there's no reason, in spite of everything you see around you, in spite of the fact that I'm working out of a studio or people next to me are selling cocaine, in spite of the fact that I'm working out of a park, you're not going to care because I'm treating all the things that matter as if they're real. If you do that, your business will grow and be successful. But if you ignore communication from your customers, your business won't be successful. And again, I get a lot of correspondence that I ignore. Like, hi, I want to know where to get schematics. Hi, I have a Sony Dream Machine from 1957 that I want fixed. Do you do that? I ignore a lot of that correspondence because it's just a fucking waste of time when I have a limited amount of time to do my communicating with. But if somebody sends me something and their repair's not going the way that I want it to, and I may actually have news for them that'll make them mad, and they actually have a good reason to be mad at the news that I'm giving them, and that reason may have to do with me, sucks, but I got to pick up the phone because I'm in business. And when you're in business, you got to pick up the phone. You got to answer the email. It's just stuff that you just got to do. If you don't do it, people are not going to take you seriously. They're not going to take you for real, and they're not going to want to do business with you. And you can bitch about it, and you can moan about it, and you can say, I don't have time to do it. But if you don't have time to treat your business like it's real, then how do you expect anybody else to?